Hi, thanks for tuning into this second session on usability testing. Stick around till the end when I'll be available for around 5 minutes, questions or discussion. Hi, I'm Ben Rarick, the Web Services and Usability Librarian at WSU. Some background on my experience with usability testing. I learned about it in grad school working on a client project with Google. Now at WSU Libraries, I've conducted testing this past spring in person and the previous year in smaller doses. And I'm actually in the middle of conducting ongoing testing on Primo right now. So this is the second session on planning usability tests. Here's what we've covered so far. Our third session will cover actually conducting the tests, and then a final session on analyzing and reporting our results. So Orbis Cascade Alliance's user testing toolkit was put together by the Dux team a few years ago. We're always evaluating the resources there and keeping them current. We hope all of our work brings clarity on how you can conduct testing and the importance of our patrons' experiences. We hope this session can lead to further discussion of how testing is or can be done at your institution. Today, I'll cover first a few different types of usability tests. Second, the audience you select for testing. Third, how you might go about recruiting the audience for your test. And finally, why you must pilot your tests if you want the best results. First, what are the main different ways to conduct usability testing? So during the 2020 pandemic, we've done remote or virtual testing, with myself acting as the moderator. Unmoderated testing doesn't allow you to ask follow-up questions in the moment or help prompt users to think aloud if they're not doing so. And I've never done it, so I can't really speak to it. For remote sessions, one difficulty is the extra work it takes to build initial rapport with the user. One benefit is the user will feel more comfortable using their own device, something not common for in-person tests. For the in-person formal tests we've done, we invited users to a library office to participate on a laptop that we owned while we observed them. We've also done some intercept testing, also known as guerrilla or walk-by testing. Some libraries have held regular UX cafes where snacks and coffee are offered as incentives to passersby in exchange for a few minutes doing tasks, also known as tiny cafes or feedback cafes. We've had success doing these with a student assistant, as their presence can lessen the hesitation of fellow students to approach. We've had slightly more success in the student union than in our library. We've typically waited for students to come to us, but you could definitely reach a few more in a shorter time frame if you solicited people by standing and asking if they had a few minutes to give feedback. Obviously, for walk-by testing, you will only be able to test around 2 short scenarios in 5 minutes. You always want to set expectations for participants, and the shorter the session is, the more likely you'll get more people to complete it. Second, your audience. Identify who you want to test. Undergrads, grad students, or faculty are the 3 biggest sections of users, typical for library audiences, but you can get more specific from there as you desire. You want to ensure you've identified tasks your target audience performs regularly. While many audience segments do, in fact, conduct similar tasks in Primo, the same might not be true of your website. Many UX professionals use personas to help understand the behavior and major tasks of their primary audience segments. This is extremely useful for getting the rest of your library stakeholders on the same page about 1, who your users are, and 2, who you are designing for. It also helps to know primary tasks are sometimes wildly different for undergrads compared to faculty. Third, recruiting. This can be one of the most difficult barriers to overcome. Especially when doing formal or extended sessions, you also need to consider scheduling and incentives. So you have to assess your own library's communication channels. If you have a robust social media presence where you know students are interacting with you, that could be a good place to publish. You could also list an event or news story about your test. You could have a temporary button, featured link, or even a pop-up on your homepage, something that we did for a recent homepage redesign. Your university might allow you to email a list of all students, Or there may be department or college email lists who you could ask about helping you advertise and recruit. Incentives obviously increase the likelihood that recruitment will be successful, but are often a huge barrier for librarians to get started. Think of alternative or cheaper incentives like library swag, for instance, t-shirts or pins or other types of things that have your logo on them. Otherwise, you want to consider offering around $5 per 20 minutes of your test. So if you have an hour-long test, that might be $15 of reimbursement. Piloting your test. Finally, you want to take your test for a test drive. So what does it mean to pilot? Finding someone in your target group, ideally. If you can't find someone that fits that description, you can also pilot with a student assistant or fellow librarian. Until they tire of it, you can also pilot with friends and family. Believe me, some members of my family have definitely gotten tired of doing run-throughs with me. A large aspect of the run-through is timing. Do you have enough tasks to fill 30 minutes? Or alternatively, do you have enough time to do the greeting, get consent, and ask follow-up questions while still completing all of your tasks? We definitely want to respect our users' time. We'll cover more about the run-through and conducting in the next session, but having a test run will help you smooth out any hiccups or uncertainties. Be sure to debrief with your note taker about what should be adjusted. Thank you so much for your time today, and please let me know if you have any comments or questions. Thanks.